1. In designing a PC preparation course for adult learners, which principle of andragogy should guide the instructor's content delivery? A. Adults learn best when dependent on instructor-driven pacing. B. Adults are motivated by grades more than applicability. C. Adults prefer self-directed learning linked to real-life contexts. D. Adults retain knowledge primarily through rote memorization. 2. When evaluating a PCEP candidate's ability to use Python functions, which assessment method best measures higher-order thinking skills? A. Multiple-choice questions with one correct answer. B. Coding assignments requiring debugging of existing code. C. True-false items on function syntax. D. Matching terms to definitions. 3. A trainer is developing curriculum for a PCEP bootcamp. What should be the first step in curriculum design? A. Choosing textbooks and online references. B. Aligning learning outcomes with exam objectives. C. Scheduling guest lectures from Python experts. D. Designing the final summative exam. 4. During a PCEP mentoring session, an instructor observes that an adult learner struggles with recursion. Which communication technique is most effective? Repeating the same explanation louder and slower. Using a practical analogy to explain recursive calls. C. Assigning additional textbook chapters for self-study. D. Avoiding the topic until the learner improves independently. 5. Which regulatory consideration is most relevant when storing PCEP candidates' performance data? A. FERPA compliance for data retention. B. HIPAA restrictions on coding assessments. C. GDPR requirements for personal data handling. D. OSHA workplace safety guidelines. 6. What is the primary purpose of formative assessments in a PCEP training program? A. To provide a final grade for certification. B. To give learners ongoing feedback for improvement. C. To compare student scores with national averages. D. To determine program accreditation. 7. A mentor notices a learner consistently misuses Python indentation. What adult learning strategy is most appropriate? A. Provide immediate corrective feedback and guided practice. B. Deduct points until the learner self-corrects. C. Assign unrelated problems to build confidence. D. Ignore errors until the summative exam. 8. Which curriculum development model emphasizes alignment of learning objectives, instructional methods, and assessments for PCEP preparation? ADDIE model. B. Bloom's taxonomy only. C. Kolb's experiential cycle. D. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. 9. In a PCEP prep course, the instructor includes peer review of coding assignments. This most directly supports which adult learning principle? A. Adults dislike collaborative learning. B. Adults benefit from experiential and social learning. C. Adults prefer competitive grading. D. Adults avoid feedback from peers. 10. When measuring mastery of Python loops, which assessment technique is most authentic? A. Multiple-choice questions about while loop syntax. B. A coding project requiring iteration to process data. C. Matching while and for to definitions. D. A true-false test on loop concepts. 11. Which communication strategy is most effective for explaining Python's exception handling to diverse adult learners? A. Delivering a highly technical lecture with minimal examples. B. Using simple real-world scenarios where exceptions apply. C. Providing only the official documentation link. D. Encouraging learners to memorize exception names. 12. In mentoring, which approach best supports a struggling PCEP candidate's self-efficacy? A. Provide constructive feedback and small achievable tasks. Criticize errors to reinforce discipline. C. Reduce expectations to avoid failure. D. Assign tasks without guidance to promote independence. 13. When evaluating the effectiveness of a PCE preparation course, which method provides the most comprehensive data? A. End-of-course surveys only. B. Pre- and post-test comparisons with learner feedback. C. Anecdotal notes from instructors. D. Informal classroom discussions. 14. Which adult learning principle explains why Python practice labs are more effective than lectures alone? A. Adults retain information through passive listening. B. Adults value experiential, hands-on learning opportunities. C. Adults prefer only theoretical concepts. D. Adults require constant instructor oversight. 15. A mentor assigns a capstone project involving Python file handling. This best supports which educational outcome? Memorization of syntax. B. Application of knowledge in real-world contexts. C. Repetition of predefined examples. D. Compliance with regulatory standards. 16. When designing PCEP practice quizzes, which guideline ensures fairness and compliance? A. Questions must be copied verbatim from the certification exam. B. Questions must align with official exam objectives and avoid bias. C. Questions should test personal learner background. D. Questions should prioritize trick wording to challenge learners. 17. Which mentoring technique encourages reflective practice for PCEP candidates? A. Asking learners to journal coding challenges and solutions. B. Providing only model solutions for review. C. Avoiding discussion of mistakes. D. Encouraging learners to work in isolation. 18. What is the best way to evaluate communication effectiveness in a PCEP course? A. Measure instructor speaking time. B. Assess learner ability to explain coding concepts to peers. C. Count the number of slides in presentations. D. Record attendance at lectures. 19. A regulatory audit requires that exam preparation providers maintain transparency in outcomes. Which practice ensures compliance? A. Publicly reporting aggregated pass rates and feedback. B. Keeping all learner data private from external review. C. Deleting student records immediately after exams. D. Releasing individual scores without consent. 20. Which instructional strategy most effectively addresses diverse learning styles in PCEP preparation? A. Providing varied methods, coding labs, discussions, and visual aids. B. Using only lecture-based delivery for efficiency. C. Standardizing one teaching format for consistency. D. Requiring learners to adapt to instructor preference. 21. In curriculum development, why is backward design especially valuable for PCEP preparation? A. It begins with the end goals and aligns instruction to outcomes. B. It avoids formal learning objectives. C. It emphasizes covering as much content as possible. D. It prioritizes instructor convenience over learner success. 22. Which evaluation method best determines if learners can apply Python control flow knowledge? A. Multiple choice recall questions. B. Real-world coding challenges requiring decision-making. C. Matching definitions of if and else. D. Oral questioning only. 23. Which adult learning principle is reinforced when learners create their own Python debugging exercises? A. Self-directed learning. B. Dependency on instructor authority. C. Rote memorization. D. Passive observation. 24. When facilitating group discussions on Python data structures, which role should the instructor take? A. Act as a facilitator, encouraging peer exchange. B. Deliver all answers directly. C. Limit learner participation to avoid errors. D. Assign extra reading instead of discussion. 25. What is the primary benefit of mentoring in PCE preparation? A. Reinforcing learner motivation and confidence. Ensuring learners memorize official exam questions. C. Eliminating the need for structured instruction. D. Preventing learners from making mistakes. 26. Which assessment best aligns with measuring Bloom's analysis level in Python learning? Identifying syntax rules for variables. B. Debugging and explaining the logic of faulty code. C. Reciting function definitions. D. Matching operators to descriptions. 27. How can instructors ensure ethical compliance when mentoring PCEP candidates? A. Provide exam dumps for faster preparation. B. Maintain confidentiality and avoid conflicts of interest. C. Share personal learner data with employers. D. Guarantee exam results, regardless of effort. 28. Which communication barrier is most likely to hinder adult learners in PCEP preparation? A. Excessive use of technical jargon without context. B. Clear explanations with analogies. C. Providing coding examples. D. Encouraging questions and feedback. 29. A mentor asks a learner to explain how Python handles variable scope. What evaluation method is this? A. Self-reflection assessment. Oral formative assessment. C. Summative evaluation. D. Peer grading. 30. Which adult learning principle underpins the use of real-world projects in PCEP training? A. Relevance to learners' personal and professional goals. B. Instructor-centered control of all tasks. C. Preference for abstract theories over practice. D. Avoidance of practical applications. 31. How can an instructor ensure reliability of PCP practice assessments? A. Use consistent scoring rubrics across learners. B. Change grading criteria for each learner's needs. C. Evaluate informally without documentation. D. Base scores on attendance. 32. In evaluating the overall curriculum effectiveness, which measure is most useful? A. Student satisfaction combined with demonstrated learning outcomes. B. Instructor workload hours. C. Number of slides created for the course. D. Tuition cost comparisons.